Okay, so I have 3 more examples here, and they're a combination of all the rules, okay? You can really tackle it any way you like, but I'm going to go through and show you how I like to do it. The first thing I always like to do is take care of my powers, okay? Because if you look at how PEMDAS works, we need to be doing our exponents first before we do any of our multiplication or division, okay? So, you need to take care of your powers first always. Alright, I'm going to go through and write my ones where my coefficient or where my variables don't have any exponents, so I know that I have the 1 power. Now, this whole top piece is being raised to the 2nd power. The bottom piece isn't. Now, if these parentheses came down like this and the whole thing was raised to the 2nd power, then I would raise the top and the bottom to the 2nd power. But just since the top is raised to the 2nd power, that's all I do. Okay? So, I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to multiply my exponents. I'm not going to write the steps out like I did over here. I'm just going to multiply them in my head and write them. Okay, so 3 to the 1st power squared is going to be negative 3 to the 2nd power. Q, negative 2 times a positive 2 is a negative 4. R, 1 times 2 is 2. S, 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so that's all still over negative 12, Q to the 1st, R to the negative 3, S to the negative 5. S's and 5s are looking a lot the same. Okay, now, after I've taken care of my powers, then I like to take care of my negatives. Move them around and get them positive before I do any of the product rule or the quotient rule. Okay, so you don't have to do it that way, but that's the way I recommend. Okay, all right. Negative 3 squared stays there. Nothing we can do about it. I really need to look at my Q to the negative 4, my R to the negative 3, and my S to the negative 5 because those are negatives, okay? So my Q to the negative 4 needs to go to the denominator. My R to the 3rd needs to go to the numerator. And my S to the negative 5th also needs to go to the numerator to make it positive, okay? So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 3 squared. What's left up here? Okay, we have R squared, and I need both of these right here because they're moving up. R to the 3rd, S to the 5th, and S to the 8th. That's all now on the numerator. Now my denominator has 12, a Q to the 1st power, and a Q to the 4th power because I moved it down and makes it positive. So remember, whenever you're doing your moving with your negative and positive exponents, whenever you move it down, it becomes positive, or move it up, it becomes positive. You have to change those, okay? Now, I can perform my product rule. I have things already grouped together that I need to group together. Remember, when you're multiplying two numbers with the same base, or two variables with the same base, you simply add the exponent. So, negative 3 squared, I can go ahead and multiply that out. Negative 3 times negative 3 is going to be a positive 9 over 12, okay? And we can keep this. R squared and R to the 3rd is R to the 5th. S to the 5th and 8th is S to the 13th. And Q to the 1st and the 4th is Q to the 5th. Okay, this isn't simplified because I need to simplify my fraction here in the front. And I can simply do that by reducing 9/12. Okay? 3 goes into 9 3 times. R to the 5th, S to the 13th. And 3 goes into 12 4 times. Q to the 5th. So you always treat your coefficients just like regular numbers, okay? Alright, this is the simplified version. No negative exponents. No like bases, okay? So we got this all the way to this. See how many steps it took me to get there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 steps, okay? So you need to show your work here, guys. You can't do all of this in your head. Alrighty. Next example. 75p to the 3rd, q to the negative 5th, all over 15p to the 5th, q to the negative 4th, r to the negative 8th. Okay, so I look and I say, do I have any powers? No powers. So I want to go ahead and then take care of my negatives. All right, my negative numbers are q to the 5th, q to the negative 4th, r to the negative 8th. Okay, so that needs to move down. Those two need to move up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look at my 75 and 15 and see that that reduces to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay, my p to the third. Okay, I'm going to have these two on top now. Q to the fourth, r to the eighth, all over p to the fifth, and my q to the fifth moves down. Q to the fifth. Okay, am I simplified? No, because I still have things with like basis, right? So we're going to have to do our quotient rule. All right, so this is going to be a unique thing. Right here, I need nothing goes to my 5. I'm going to leave it be because there's no other coefficients. My p to the third and fifth, my q to the 4 and fifth, and then my r just stays out there the same. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this as 5 times p to the 3 minus 5, q to the 4 minus 5, r to the 8th. Okay. Now reduce that p to the negative 2, q to the negative 1, and r to the 8th. All right, so I did my quotient rule, and then I created negative numbers, which is possible, okay? So then I'm still going to have to make them positive. You're not, simplified monomials do not have negative exponents, okay? So my p to the negative 2 and q to the negative 1 need to move to the denominator for this to work. So we're going to have 5 r to the 8th and p squared q to the first, or just q because you don't have to rewrite it, as my final answer. Okay, so that is my simplified monomial. All right, that was the monomial here, and this is a simplified monomial. All right, last example. Okay, want to go ahead and take care of my powers. All right, so negative 1 needs to be multiplied by every power inside here. So I'm going to rewrite negative p to the negative fourth, excuse me, q to the negative third over p to the negative 5, and I'm thinking that maybe I wrote that wrong. It's supposed to be q here. Sorry. Q to the negative 2. Okay. Okay, we have negative exponents on top and negative exponents on bottom. So all 4 of them are going to have to make a move to be positive. All right, so I'm going to rewrite that as p to the 5th power, p to the 2nd power, over p to the 4th power, p to the 3rd power. Oh, dang. Sorry, I'm mixing up my p's and q's. This is a q and q. Okay, so I move both of these up, both of those down. Now we need to use our quotient rule. All right, p to the 4 minus 5 is p to the first, and q 2 minus 3. That's where people are going to get mixed up at, guys. This is smaller than this, so my exponent is going to end up being a negative 1. Okay, so then I need to move that back down, p to the first power over q to the 2nd power. So my simplified monomial is simply p over q here from this right now. All righty.